Now, Summertime is such a heavily recorded song, it's hard to say there's a definitive way to play the chords. But what is the easiest way to play the chords? What chords can we take out? What's the minimum chords we can get away with the melody still working and us still being able to solo over it? Well, that's what I want to show you today. I want to show you a simple way to play Summertime with 3-note voicings, really strips the song back to its bare bones. This in turn helps with soloing because nobody wants a head full of chords when they're soloing. Now, before we get into it, please check the description for a link to my website where you can download the 2 PDFs from today's lesson, the chord shapes you need, and the chart that you'll see on the screen. You'll also find a link to my Patreon, where this month there's 2 solos to learn, there's a chord melody, and also a comping study and arpeggio study too. Now, let's get into this way of playing Summertime. Now we're going to look at this in the guitar for any key of A minor. Let's first think about what that means. So if we harmonized an A minor scale and built chords off each note, we'd get A minor 7, B minor 7 flat 5, C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, which is more likely to be played as E dominant 7th, and then F major 7 and G dominant 7th back to A minor 7. Now that E minor 7, which is the chord you get in the key of A minor if you harmonise the scale like I just did, it's often changed to E7 because being the 5 chord, it needs to function as a way to go back to the 1 chord. So if I played E minor 7 to A minor 7, sounds beautiful, sounds nice, reminded me of a song actually, but if I play E7 instead, it has a stronger pullback because it contains this note here, a G sharp, which is the leading tone, only a semitone away from an A, and it helps us lead nicely back to A minor 7. So the 3-note chords that you're going to need are A minor 7 off the E string, B minor 7 flat 5 also off the E string, C major 7 off the A string, D minor 7 also off the A string, E dominant 7th off the A string, and then we're also going to need G7 off the E string. So that's all the shapes you're going to need. So here is my chart on the screen. Now it's a 16-bar form, but you'll probably feel it in 2 chunks of 8. If you look at the first 2 lines, there's less chords than say towards the end, and this section here, say that last line, the bar 13, the C major 7, A minor 7, it's really just like a turnaround like you get in a blues to really head us back to kick it all off again. Now I'm going to use this Latin bossa nova kind of style rhythm to play this like this, and I'll show you a close up of my right hand. Rhythmically it's going 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And if I go close up, you see my thumb is playing the bass note, and I'm using my index and my middle together to pick the other 2 notes of the chord on the D and G string here. So it's like thumb, fingers, and then just let it ring. Thumb's picking down to the floor, fingers picking up towards the ceiling. And we're going to apply that rhythm to each chord. You know, when you change to say a D minor 7, your thumb has got to move to the A string and the other 2 fingers have got to move down to the G and B. So there's a few technical considerations just there. So let's play the first 8 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, A minor 7, 4 bars. D minor 7, 2 bars. B minor 7 flat 5, 1 bar. E7, 1 bar. So it's stripped back quite a bit there. And then the final 8 bars, it starts out back on with the A minor 7, the E7 has led us nicely there. We've got 3.5 bars of that, and then the G7 comes in halfway through that last bar on this line there. Just like that, so it's going 1 bar, 2nd bar, 3rd bar, 4th bar, G7. And that G7's leading us nicely into the turnaround, which is going to go C major 7, A minor 7, B minor 7 flat 5, E7, A minor 7, E7. Now if you find this picking aspect, this Latin style, difficult if you've not done it before, I've already made a video on that style of playing, so again I'll link that in the description. But you could just play it swing, you know, you could go say you definitely could do that. If you find that easier and that you prefer that feel to it, then go with that. But I think the Latin vibe works quite well with this way of playing the chords. Now, just technically with that Latin style, when you've got two chords in the same bar, you go 1, say with the C major 7 to the A minor 7, you go 1, 2, 3, then change chord 3 and 4. So it's like C, change A, C, C, A, B, B, E, E. I know I sound like a fool. Hopefully it helps somebody. And that's just the way it wants to flow there. Let me play the whole thing through for you close up, not too quick or so. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you were finishing, you'd want to finish on A minor because that's the key chord of the song, the 1 chord. Just some other kind of points, and it could be played slow like I did, or it could be a real like you know, up tempo. If we think back to earlier when I laid out what chords you get in A minor, it's worth relating that to what we just played, so you get a sense of how chords are working, what chords are doing what. So we start out on chord 1, 4 bars, moving to chord 4 in bar 5 like a minor blues really, then a classic move 2 to the 5. 5 always wants to lead us back to 1. 3 bars of 1, 3 and a bit bars of 1. Now really what's happening here, although you get G7 in the key of A minor and you chord you know, flat 7, 7, it's also the 5 chord in the key of C, and that's what I feel like we're doing here. We're going to a C chord, which is the relative major, so it's like G7 leads us to C, and then we're back to chord 1, A minor 7, B minor 7, 2, E7, chord 5, leads us back to A minor, chord 1, and then if we don't put an E7 there at the end, I think it would be really easy to get lost in the form, because that kind of punctuates it's the end. We're starting again back to A minor 7. If we just left it with A minor 7, you then get, when you go to the second time round, you get 6 bars on A minor 7. That's very dangerous when you're playing with other people. You could find someone thinks, oh, how many bars of A minor 7 have we played, and they don't quite get it, and they've changed to D minor 7 a bar early or a bar too late. And some really basic things you can do when you're listening to songs is really just listen to when the chords resolve. When the 1 chord comes in, it's very stable. The D minor 7 chord creates some nice movement away from that, and then it's all about a journey back via that 2-5 to go back to the 1 chord in the 3rd line, and then that turnaround where things shift a little bit quicker, nice sense of movement, just to create that nice bit of interest, and then the 5 chord at the end, as I said, helps us go again. But if you're finishing the song, you would, at the very, very end, you would want to put an A minor at the end to finish it off, otherwise it wouldn't sound resolved. Now you might feel that that version of Summertime is missing some chords. You want to a bit more harmony, a bit more movement, a bit more interest in terms of the chords used. And I have made a video on this song before in which I did 3 ways you can play the chords to Summertime, which include typical variations, inversions and subs and stuff like that. So you may want to check that out. That's on the screen for you. And also, what about my video on the Latin style rhythm? If you've not done that before, you might need a bit of help with what's going on there and suggestions on how to practice it. Please check the description also for a link to my Patreon. As I said, this month Summertime is the jazz standard, and you can learn a chord melody with this PDF and tab. That's open to all tiers. There's a backing track for all tiers in the style of today's chords, and then the second tier includes a rhythm study and an arpeggio study, and then also there's the final tier also includes 2 soloing studies. So please have a check of that out. Hit that like button, leave me a comment. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, you take care.